Found out my fiancé is actually my 3-year-old brother's biological father and my mom had a secret affair with him while I was away from home. So I exposed everything to everyone. My fiancé, 25M, and myself, 24F, have been together since we were 17-18 years old. Honestly, he was always kind, handsome, funny, and everyone used to say I was so lucky to have the whole package. I felt so lucky too. He always treated me with love and respect, so this makes everything just so shocking for me. I have always had a good relationship with my mom. It has always been her and I against the world. My dad died in an accident when I was little. We always joked we are the real-life Rory and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. My mom dated guys on and off and they were usually cool, but nothing really past the early stages. Around 4 years ago my mom told me she was pregnant, which was a huge surprise. My mom was around 42 years old, and although she was sort of dating someone recently, didn't meet the guy but knew she went on dates, it still was a big shock. She never thought she could be pregnant at her age. She had me when she was super young, an upsie, and I can tell she was stressed and worried. I decided to support her, since she has always supported me, and tried to reassure her. She then had my brother, who is now 3 years old. I have a close relationship with my brother. I have helped taking care of him since he was born and I just love the little guy. My fiancé was also always helpful with my brother. We would take him out for ice cream, playground, pool time during summer, etc., but nothing was weird. He was just my then BF, spending time with my brother, and I now to the how I found out. My fiancé and I lived together since we finished college. My finis was not at home since he was hanging out with friends, but I was home BC. I didn't feel like going out and just wanted to chill on my sofa. At some point during being watching a series on Netflix, my laptop died and I was too lazy to go get my charger, so I just took my fiancé's iPad. I know the password but honestly never used it before. The iPad logged in and I got a bunch of messages pinging. I guess he hasn't used it in a while too? Anyways, this got my attention and I went to check it out, and OFC, I found everything. My mom's number wasn't under her name, but I recognized the number and verified it with my phone. She was telling him she felt guilty and that I should know. He said he also felt guilty but couldn't lose me and they fucked it up. She said that it was unfair for my brother to never not know his dad, and that if he could live having his son around not behaving like a dad but a brother-in-law. I broke down. What the actual F? There weren't a lot of older messages, just some photos stored of my brother as a newborn, my mom pregnant, and more photos of my brother growing up in an album. I couldn't anymore. I cried for what it seemed ages and I wait for my BF to come back home. I wish I was one of those women that can pretend and get things together before confronting the cheater, but I can't. He came back later that night, around 23:30, and I just gave him the iPad with the conversation opened and saw his face completely go pale. I asked for an explanation. When? How? Why? And he didn't want to at first, but knew he had to. Apparently a few years back while I was traveling with some friends, girls trip, my fiancé and mom had dinner together. This isn't strange since he has been part of the family for so long. Sometimes mom and fiancé would eat together at our place even if I was busy with sports or out. I did the same with his parents. Somehow, unclear how since he couldn't explain it well, one thing led to another and they ended up sleeping together. They felt guilty but apparently not guilty enough. BC, they slept together 2 to 3 more times, using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me. Apparently when my mom got pregnant they stopped sleeping together and decided to not tell me, since my fiancé loved me and couldn't lose me and my mom didn't want to lose her daughter. So here we are now, with 2 of the most disgusting humans. I obviously broke the engagement, told my mom to never talk to me again and move in with a friend. I feel bad for my brother since I really love him, but I can't be around him now, I just can't. I feel like it would remind me of all those times we talked about having kids. I would be his baby mama, only baby mama. We talked about this future since we were 17 years old, so I want to puke every time I think how I was actually taking care of his child with someone else, while still having those dreams. I want to puke. Comments, aggravating_secret_7. Oh honey. I am so sorry. SP absolutely sorry. I'm also furious at your mother, but my opinion of her isn't going to help you. Please right now take care of yourself. Eat, drink some water, get some rest. Lean on your friends, let them take care of you. Don't unblock your fiancé and your mother. At some point people might start pressuring you to forgive and forget, and that's bullshit. Some things are unforgivable. If you choose to go that route, do it at your speed. But right now, leave them blocked. Let your work know that you've got family problems, and ask if there is any way for someone to walk you to and from your car. Or ask a worm buddy. This is the hard part, you have to keep going. I cannot imagine the pain you're feeling, but just keep going, day by day. It won't get better this month, or even this year, but it will get better. If you've got health insurance, look into getting a therapist or a counselor. If you find yourself in need of a mama, 'cause I'm old enough to be yours, or just someone to talk to, please reach out and DM me. I'll be happy to talk with you. Uns and Zep, fuck them both, but people cheat all the time, although this took the cheating prize. Your mother on the other hand. The lowest of the low, despicable piece of tick shit. They did it repeatedly. She was prepared to let her daughter marry a cheater and liar. All the best wishes and support to you, and may the future save you from meeting more shitty people. Zealous Ideal Wolf 991, I would leave them behind and never look back. You deserve so much better and you will find better. Don't waste another minute of your time on them. And when your little brother gets older, I'd explain to him exactly why you walked away, because he also deserves to know what kind of parents he has and why you had no choice but to abandon him for the time being. I'm sure he'd understand. I'm so sorry that your mom betrayed you this way. I hope that you have a really good support system to help get you through the awful time. It's bad enough when a friend does something like this, but I can't imagine when it's your own mother. Update 1. First, I want to thank everyone for the nice messages and comments. I was not expecting so much support. I'm still a mess, not gonna lie, but after reading the comments I felt better, like a therapy mini session. So again, thank you all. To the update. As I was afraid, I was indeed confronted near my office this week. I knew this was coming but thought maybe I had more time. My ex was the person to come find me. Yesterday, after finishing work and walking to where my car was parked, my ex was sort of lingering, waiting around. I thought about running, not gonna lie, but I guess in the moment I felt strong enough to get over with it, instead of having that hanging above my head waiting to be approached again. He asked if we could talk and I said yes, but I didn't feel like having that conversation over coffee like we were old friends. It felt ridiculous, so I told him to just talk right there. We were in the streets, but somehow it wasn't crowded, but also not completely lonely, felt right. He basically said sorry 100 times, and that I deserved better. I agreed. He said he did love me and that he still does, but he would understand why I wouldn't want anything to do with him. He said that if I did in fact consider giving him a chance, that he would go to therapy, alone or together or both, and that he would work hard to win my trust back. I told him it wasn't possible, there was too much damage. This sounds calm when I type it, but in the moment things came out more with louder tone and harsher words. Anyways, he did say that he is in the or will be, it was a bit of a blur, process of getting custody, partly, from my brother, and that he in fact does want to be a dad to him. He said he does not want to be together with my mom, that it was just a stupid mistake, sure. BC 4 to 5 times mistake is just a random thing. He couldn't explain why he did it in the first place. I think he doesn't even know himself. I asked if he cheated with someone else before. He said no, not sure if to believe it, but he sounded honest. I asked why he didn't come clean, and he said that after he did the deed he always felt panicked and it hits him that he could lose me and he just didn't want to. I told him it was meant to be found out, that what was his plan? To have my brother around and ignore their relationship forever? He said he didn't think far enough and that he was basically going with the idea one day at the time type of survival. I asked him if he felt that my mom seduced him. He said it was mutual, which made me want to puke again. I asked if he has any contact with my mom since I found out. He said yes, but mostly about my brother, didn't elaborate more, and I didn't press for more info on that. He said he told his parents the day before or the day before that, not sure, Tuesday? About everything. The parents were not happy, but they are glad to start building now a relationship with my brother, their grandkid. Honestly, all of this felt like a punch in my stomach, I don't know why. The parents wanted to contact me, but he told them to wait till he approached me first, hence why he was here. I said if he started or thought about the custody before I found out, and he said no, but when I found out was like the push he needed. Great, seems I helped him get his shit together, and this past week he was arranging all of that mess, that's why he hasn't tried to see me before. He sounded and looked defeated, but the whole thing made me besides sad, angry. I was mainly depressed before, but now I'm furious. I feel like he is still in an okay place and he isn't paying for his actions, beyond me leaving him. He will have my brother, his parents and others and move on with his life. While I lost everything. I hate him. We parted ways not on a happy note, and I told him to never get near me again. I was done. He asked me to see my brother still, that I was important to him, and tried to guilt trip me, and it worked, but I still think I can't. I don't know much about my mom and really hope she doesn't come find me anytime soon. BC, I'm fuming right now and won't be able to handle it. I will be contacting my family and friends and finally doing the blasting today. I think is about time, and after my talk with him, I got the extra push I needed. Update 2. Hi everyone. Again, I want to say thanks for all the support on my last update. Honestly, like I said in my previous post, it really helped me a lot emotionally, all your comments and also all the advice I got, that being about moving abroad or what to say when I do the blast. Thanks you. A lot has happened. I did the blasting. And this is how it went down. I first posted on my family's FB group we share. This is from my mom's family side. I used inspiration of what you all suggested in my last post and said something around the lines of, I want to communicate to you all that my wedding with X has been permanently cancelled, since I found out that my mom, name, and my ex, name, had in the last few years a sexual relationship which resulted in the birth of my little brother, name. I had no clue of any of this, and I found out about it last week. I won't have moving forward a relationship with, name, mom, and ex, name, for obvious reasons. I would appreciate your understanding, and I felt it was only fair to let you know of the situation. Since I value transparency and honestly above all. I also included a screenshot of my mother message, what I said to her once I found out, and a message she managed to write back before I blocked her. Didn't open the message till before the blasting. I didn't want to read her and be persuaded. It exploded. I had family reaching out via text and calling the whole day after the blasting. I would say most were very supportive, and I could tell they were just shocked. There were a few neutral and some suspicious that it wasn't the whole story and maybe I misunderstood. My grandparents were in the maybe you misunderstood category, which it wasn't surprising since my mom is super close to my grandparents, and like I said before, my mom was always a good mom. So no red flags. I will be moving with a cousin that is more like a sister to me. I haven't reached out to her previously, BC I knew once she knows everyone would, that's why I went to my friend's place. My cousin is devastated on my behalf and offered I live with her and her 2 kids until I can get my feet on the ground. I accepted and will be moving next week. I'm a bit afraid this will give my mom an easier access to me, but I can't stay at my friend's place forever. I then proceeded quickly to post a similar message for we share most of our friends since high school and local university, friends on Instagram. I created a close friends story and tagged most of them too. This went sort of viral in our friend group. Actually, one of my friends sent me my Reddit post and asked if this was me. I confirmed. They were also shocked and speechless. They never thought my ex would even remotely do anything like this. They said he was crazy about you. Oh well. Apparently he went overboard on the crazy part. The group of friends is divided ATM, some are completely on my side and some are thinking it isn't the whole truth. I told everyone that reached out that if they don't believe me to ask their friend if he is asking for custody of my little brother. That kinda shut them up for now. My ex deleted his social media apparently. Also, my ex's parents called me like I guess they would. They were kind to me and were very sorry about everything. I got the feeling they are also overwhelmed and very disappointed. However, it was clear they will be supporting their son. They are very upset at my mother, and don't want anything to do with her, but not sure how that will work with my little brother and everything else. They tried to give me info about the custody and what is my ex up to now, but I shut that down quickly and told them I don't want any info, I want to move on. I also asked them to not reach out in the near future, that I needed distance, especially if they will be supporting my ex. He is living with his parents ATM. Also, my ex and my mother after the blast were going nuts trying to reach out to me. They tried calling my friend, who she blocked them, and reaching out from different numbers. I had to put my phone on silence and ignore everyone. However, my mother sent me a long text, from another number, and that was a weird text. She said that I was being cruel and that she didn't think she raised me that way. She said she thought we had a better relationship than me blasting out laundry like that without talking to her first. That I didn't have the whole picture. She did mention something that confused me. She said in her long-ass text, that the reason she slept with my ex, is because he reminded him of my dad. That it was grief. That she didn't mean to use him to heal her pain, but she wasn't strong enough. I don't even know what that means. Like, did she think that my ex looks physically like my dad? Or personality? Or what? I have seen photos of my dad, and well, yay, my ex isn't super different but also not super alike. I mean, they share brown/dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin. But that's not so uncommon. I don't see what else. I don't know. That threw me for a loop and honestly makes me want to confront my mom just to know what the hell. From all the things she could say, I was not expecting that. I'm holding on better. I don't cry every hour or want to murder them. But I'm still sad and upset, and it just feels like it isn't my life. That is a big joke or a bad dream, and I will wake up to my normal life. I also need to really start planning my future and start applying for jobs in other cities, or maybe check the possibilities abroad more seriously. I might ask for 2 to 3 days off work to really get my thought together and do some research. I'm terrified TBH. I feel frozen, but I know I need to start moving. Comments. Beginning stop 7646, how TF are PPL not on your side? I bet your mom is spinning this to make her look innocent, but how? They had a fucking affair, not a one-night stand. I'm glad you set boundaries with your ex-in-laws, I know that was hard. Stay strong up. Neither of them deserve your kindness nor relationship with them. Edit, BTW, what was your ex reaching you for? I heard, but this might be rumors, that's why I didn't add it in the post, that she said that it was a mistake and that my ex was the initiator and that it was in a period during the time my ex and I broke up. But that's lies. My ex and I never broke up. Yes, we had fights, but we never broke up or took a break or anything around those lines. Some family members are believing that and apparently are giving her the benefit of the doubt. Tried 21000, so that gives her right to sleep with your ex. People who are giving her the benefit of doubt are the most evil people in disguise. What is the ex saying to this? Again, rumors, but a friend of a friend who is in touch with my ex said that he was groomed basically and that he is not obligated to be dad even though he never wanted that at such a young age. That he will step up and do the right thing. I guess, I shouldn't be surprised. But closer friends to me haven't heard anything from him, so not sure how true it is. Tried 21000, groomed means the affair was going on for longer than 2 to 3 years? He wants to do the right thing cause everything is out in the open, but this means he will have a relationship with your mom? And people who are siding with him in any capacity, never talk to them, At least you know the truth before getting married and having kids with him, cause there is a famous Reddit post where wife got to know mother's affair with husband after 20 plus years of marriage, and mother had kids alongside daughter and hated daughter's kids cause of competition. I think by the right thing he meant being a dad to my little brother. No idea about their relationship, mom and ex, and I don't want to know. I think if they are together, it would make me feel 10000x worse. I will for sure, and things could be worse, with me marrying my ex and potentially even having kids. But still feels like it wasn't really dodging a bomb. I feel so alone, and am grateful for some friends and my cousin and some aunts, but besides that, everything is gone. I also don't know how the hell I will ever be able to trust another partner again. I will be one of those paranoid/psycho GFS. I dislike myself and be miserable. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Adopted a boy we found abandoned on the road. 19 years later, he chose his bio parents over us, and uninvited us from his wedding. Here's how I reacted and why people are calling me heartless. I know the title is a bit weird, but this was the best way I found to translate what was said. Obligatory apologies for bad grammar and/or spelling. English is not my first language. I'm M44, my husband is M40, been married for 20 years, together for 22, and our adoptive son is M24. He's black and we're not. I'm only mentioning this because it's relevant to the story later. This does not take place in the US. Let me give a little bit of background to the situation. About 19 years ago, me and my husband had been driving on a highway, back from a small vacation, when along a particularly long stretch of road, absolutely no buildings around, only a ton of grass and hills as far as the eye could see, we spotted a little boy just sitting by the side of the road. Like I mentioned, there was nothing around for miles, and no cars close to where the boy was, so we decided to stop and see if everything was okay. When we got closer to the boy, let's call him Jason, fake name, it was very easy to see he was dirty and malnourished since the only thing he had on were some diapers. He was so small it didn't look like he could be older than 3, later found out he was actually 5. We asked him why he was alone, and he told us that mommy and daddy put him here and told him to wait. There was no cell signal in the area, so we did the sensible thing and brought him back to town to the nearest police station. To make a long story short, CPS was called. We discovered his parents were some druggies that were on the run from a felony. The only other relative Jason had was his grandmother, who was very mentally ill and couldn't take care of him, and we felt bad. He went into foster care soon after, but we felt bad for the kid and kept in touch with his caseworker. I had, still do, an extremely well-paying job at the time, and could easily afford a decent lifestyle for a small family, so after a few months of discussions between ourselves, the caseworker, and some bureaucracy, we formally adopted Jason. Now onto the situation. About 3 years ago, Jason's parents were released from prison on parole. They contacted him not long after in hopes of reconnecting. Prior to that, they'd sent him a few odd letters here or there, but nothing really substantial. At first he was hesitant to talk to them, but ended up caving and meeting them for lunch one day. I'll admit that a part of me was a bit jealous and apprehensive of what could happen. But I could see that it really was something that my son wanted to do, so for his sake I swallowed those and supported him through it. It wasn't very long, about 3 months I think, that he started to pull away from us. At first I chalked it up to him being excited to actually talk to his bio parents after so long. Talk about what had been going on in his life, spend some time with them, etc. It started to bother me when he'd cancel plans with us last minute because mom had an emergency or dad really needs me to help him with something today or whatever other excuse he could come up with. He used to come over to our house at least once a week, call every day or so, but now we were lucky if he even came by that month. Again, I thought that was just temporary, that he was just excited and soon enough he'd start spending some time with us again. We were overjoyed when he invited us over to diner one night. It was supposed to be a family gathering, us and his bio parents and his wife, girlfriend at the time. I wasn't exactly keen on meeting the people that had left my son for the dead on the side of the road, but decided to give them the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they'd atoned and changed. Besides, he's our son and we love him. We had to at least try. To say the diner was a disaster is an understatement. His bio mom was extremely rude to my husband the entire night, making passive-aggressive homophobic and racist remarks every chance she got. His father was much the same. It all came to head when she straight up called us the F word and threw a glass at my husband. A screaming match followed and we left soon after. The next day Jason apologized profusely the next day and promised they'd never do something like that again. I told him neither me and my husband wanted to have anything to do with them, and would appreciate if he understood that. He seemed to, but continued to pull away the next few months. And that leads to what happened last week. Jason proposed to his girlfriend about 9 months back, and has been preparing for the wedding since. Of course we were overjoyed for him. But a few months went by and no invitation came. Every time we asked, Jason would say they hadn't been sent out yet and change the subject. Well, last week my husband saw a Twitter post from one of Jason's friends, his groomsmen, that went a few weeks back, with the invitation in hands. We confronted Jason about it the next time he came over, only for him to drop the bomb on us that we hadn't been invited. We asked why, and he said his parents didn't want us there and wouldn't come if we did. I was fucking furious. I asked him how could he choose those pieces of trash over us? Why they were so important? What did we do to deserve this kind of treatment? His answer? They understand me better. They're my people. At this point my husband was crying, asking how could he do this? I've only ever been truly angry a few times in life, and this moment managed to top all of them. I threw him out right then and there and told him to never come back. That he wasn't our son anymore. I spent the rest of the day hugging my husband and trying to calm him down. The next day I canceled everything we'd paid for the wedding, which was basically everything important, even the ones we couldn't get a refund on. Of course Jason had the gall to call and scream at me, asking how I could do that to him. Where would he find replacements for a wedding that was supposed to happen only a few months from now? I told him I didn't give a shit and said maybe you should ask those two leeches you call parents for some help. 19 years. 19 fucking years of my goddamn life spent raising and loving a kid that I considered my own son, only to be treated like garbage. Giving blood, sweat and tears, so he would have a good life, all the love we could possibly give, and that's what we get as a reward. As for why I'm asking if I'm the some people have been calling and messaging us, mostly Jason's friends and a few of our family members, calling us heartless and monsters for doing what we did to him. And that's honestly got me questioning if I went a bit too far in anger. After all, parents are supposed to love unconditionally, right? But if so, how do we ever get over something like this? How can we deal with this feeling of betrayal? Are we justified in feeling like that? So, Ida? Edit, I've added a comment for further clarification of a few points I've seen asked in the comments and my PMs. Please refer to that if you have any questions. Edit 2, I'm seeing quite a few racist comments in this post, and to the people that are making them, I have this to say, fuck you. Fuck off with that rhetoric. I do not appreciate it, and would rather if you guys left.